So let's start programming in Python, shall we? All the introduction's been done and the basic methods employed on returning data have been covered. We are really going to avoid using the browser. We're going to use Python to talk to the data API directly, and we're going to get the information. The only thing we're really going to use the browser for is maybe getting the address in the first place and copying and pasting it. So let's first of all close down Notepad. Not going to be using Notepad at the present time. Could close this down. What I'm going to do is close down the tabs, and I'm going to sort of keep this one open, the geocode. Did I do it? No. Well, we'll come to that in a minute. We'll get a better one in a minute. So let's start idle and let's start programming. Let's go through what we need to do. So Python 2.7 idle. We're going to create a new file, and immediately we're going to save it. Now, please don't save anything in your Python 2.7 folder. That's quite a dangerous thing to do, and it always defaults to there unless your network engineer or yourself have made it save somewhere else. Always save your files in a different location. So I'm going to save it here. Now, really, I need a useful name. Let's see, address finder.py. We're going to be creating a lot of Python programs, and one of the hardest things to do is actually make useful file names that you'll remember in the future. So here we go. I mentioned earlier that the information that we are going to be returning had a particular format. It was JSON format. Let's see if I can get there again. So it was HTTPS. Let's see if I can do this quickly. Maps. Oops. Maps.googleapis.com. Have I already got it? Oh, we've got something there anyway. JSON, and the address equals 10 Downing Street. So we had this information, and it's actually this address that I'm really interested in. But the data type that we wanted back is JSON, and in Python we have a library which will understand what JSON is, and we need to use that. So if I import the library JSON, which is built in, that's going to be good. We also have another library that we need to use. This is a version from Python 2.7. There's a different version in Python 3.3 which we can use from time to time, and it's called URL, which stands for web address lib library. So those two libraries are fundamental. Without these two libraries we can't talk to the web, and we can't understand what the information is that comes back. So we need those. So web address equals, now straightforward, I'm going to just copy this information and paste it into my program and surround it by quote marks. Okay, so I create a string. Let's widen this a little bit so that we can see everything. So there's my web address. Now, this actually is one of my favorite APIs. It does a great deal of work. If we can supply our own address instead of using a fixed address there, then anywhere in the world we can get details from. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to delete the 10 Downing Street and just leave that as address equals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add onto my string the address that I put in. So first of all, I need to get an address from the user. So this address equals raw underscore input. Please enter an address. Oops. Okay, so now I've got the user to type in an address. I'm actually going to join the address onto the end of this and then call my program. So I'm going to join that onto that one. So job done. So I've got my website. Now I'm going to talk to the web, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up a variable geocode URL, and we are going to browse. We're going to talk to the web and ask for data. So I need to start it off there. Inside this library URL lib, there is a particular library which opens a web page. So we need to start off with the library URL lib, and then we need to say let's open it, URL open, and we need to give it some information on what it needs to open. And basically all we need to do is give it the web address. So that's fine. Actually that's going to work quite well. It's not going to do a lot. If I just save that and then run that in the shell, please enter an address, 10 Downing Street. We get nothing back at all, or apparently. Well, we haven't done anything with the data, but we do have the information in this variable geocode URL. So if I type geocode URL, if I spell it right, it will work. We can see that we've got some strange Python information, and all it is a link to the web data. It's not actually read that information. To do that, I need to put a .read. I need to tell it to read the information that appeared on the web page. So what we've done is we've made a link to this page, but we haven't read the information. Now we're telling it to read that information with this .read. So if I again save that, rerun the program, let's just press F5 and type in 10 Downing Street again. I absolutely hate Python when it does that. 10 Downing Street, and if I again type geocode URL, this time it should contain the information rather than just a link to it. And there we go. We've got all the data returned. If you were wondering why this was laid out as it was on different lines, when we tried it, it all appeared on one line. These little new line characters and return characters, which you can't see in there, are controlling how the results appear on the page. So that's what's sort of creating this format, which we didn't get when we tried it. So now I've got my data back. All I need to do is play with it in some form. So that will be in the next video.